All right, Miles, let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks for a little bit. This is a team that's made a lot of really smart moves in terms of the players they've acquired. And look, on this channel, we love to talk about smart moves, what teams do right, good decisions in terms of how they build their roster construction. And the Seahawks have been an example of that for a long time. But we've got a report out that shows that the Seahawks aren't just doing a good job of how they're structuring the roster, they're setting a new standard, a potential revolutionary movement at one position group in particular. I think Seahawks fans will really appreciate this.
Yeah, Nick, Pete Carroll and Schneider have been doing a really good job the last few years. And you said it, they've been making smart moves. They've really been, revolutionizing things, breaking out of the mold, so to speak. But that's not what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about a different kind of breakout, and that is potential breakout player candidates for the Seahawks this year. We've gone through minicamp. We've gone through OTAs. You've seen the guys practice. You've seen the updates. So Seattle fans, in the comments below, let us know, who do you think the potential breakout candidates for the Seahawks are this year? I think there's a lot of really promising guys. Let us know in the comments below, who is your favorite breakout candidate? But Nick, nonetheless, let's get on into this story that I think the Seahawks fans are going to love.
Yeah, Miles, let's go ahead and pull up the story. This is from mynorthwest.com. This is an interview on the Bump and Stacy show. This is co-hosted by former Seahawks player Michael Bumpus, and he was talking to Brock Huard. He had some very interesting comments. Huard did, of course, the former NFL quarterback, about what the Seahawks are doing specifically in the secondary. I'm going to go ahead and read from the report, starting with what Brock Huard was talking about. Where I think Pete and Seahawks general manager John Schneider, the first time around, changed the game with big cornerbacks, long corners, the physicality of that Legion of Boom, Huard said. Now I see them evolving and going, you know what we're going to be? We're going to be more positionless. Huard went through a list of Seattle's defensive backs and how almost all of them have the ability to play more than one position, whether it means an outside corner or a safety taking over at nickel cornerback, or even a safety moving inside the box to play a linebacker spot. Back in the day, it was, you've got to deal with us and we're going to play post safety, and this is what we are. And now you're going to have to deal with the crew on the back end that's got Julian Love and Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs and Witherspoon and Kobe Bryant and three other corners. Tariq Woolen didn't mention him, but he's a great player as well. Certain weeks, if we want to match up and play Julian Love at nickel, we'll do that. Certain weeks, if we want to play Jamal Adams at weak linebacker, we can do that. All right, Miles, what Huard recognized here, and I think a lot of us kind of missed the boat on this, is what Carroll and Schneider have done is really, and you brought up this word, I think it's 100% accurate, it's revolutionary, because we've seen it on the offensive side of the ball, the dawn of the positionless player. Deebo Samuel for the San Francisco 49ers is a great example of this. Guy can play running back, slot receiver, wide receiver. Dallas Cowboys, Tony Pollard, same kind of deal. In fact, almost all big-time playmakers nowadays are guys who can line up all over the field and do a bunch of different things. The counter to that, intuitively, it kind of makes sense, but most defenses haven't caught on to this yet, is to have a defense full of positionless players as well. Guys who can be safeties, guys who can play in the box, guys who can play single high safeties, guys that can do cover two, guys that can move to nickel. Whatever it may be, whatever matchup and whatever scheme you have to go up against that week, you need to have defensive positionless defensive players to match those positionless offensive players. It makes sense, yet no other NFL team, the New England Patriots maybe a little bit, but no other NFL team has aggressively followed and executed on that strategy as well as the Seattle Seahawks have done over the last year or two. I think this will be huge for them, Miles, because if you look at their top contenders in the NFC, you've got the 49ers. I already mentioned Deebo Samuel. Kittle is a lot of the same issues there. The Dallas Cowboys with Tony Pollard, right? CeeDee Lamb, they move him all over the field just as well. The Philadelphia Eagles, you got to have a secondary that one play is man-on-man against A.J. Brown, big physical guy, then have to shift to maybe a Dallas Goedert, or support the run and get off a block and tackle Jalen Hurts in the open field. That's not easy. Even if you go to other contenders, you look at the NFC North, the Detroit Lions, they've got Jamison Williams. They added Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama, another kind of positionless player concept. The best way to counteract these guys at top contenders in the NFC is obviously to have a bunch of these positionless defensive players. No other team has really caught on to it yet, but the Seattle Seahawks. I think this is an indication that Carroll and company are once again changing the game on how you build your roster on the back end of the defense. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, but before I hand it over to you, I want to remind everyone to stay tuned to the end of today's video to hear a word from our partner of today's video, and that, of course, is Neuro. Neuro has a lot of great products. They give you a fast and easy boost of energy. We love to take their mints or their gums right before the show. Gives us a boost of energy we need to produce this content. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of today's video to learn more about Neuro, and most importantly, to get access to our special discount code. But all right, Miles, I'll throw it over to you. What are your thoughts on this report out of Seattle?
Yeah, Nick, I think it's really brilliant because you think about it, it just makes sense. Because if I explained to you a defense where I said, okay, your 4 down linemen are all Micah Parsons. Your linebackers and your safeties are all guys, strong safeties and linebackers are all interchangeable, like Jamal Adams types, like Chuck Clark types, guys who can play both positions really well, come up in the box. Then your free safeties and corners are all like your Tariq Woolens or Devon Witherspoons, guys who are very fast, very versatile, can go into any slot corner on the outside, free safety position. You look at that, and that would be like the perfect defense. I don't know how you would cover something like that because your linebackers are versatile enough to go into coverage, but their safeties are also strong enough to come down in the box and play linebackers. You got edge rushers who can be D linemen on the edge and defensive ends, et cetera, et cetera. And then your corners, everyone can play anywhere. Truly, if you don't know who's going to line up where, it makes things immensely more difficult for the offense. And I think on the offensive side of the ball as well, that's the goal there. You got guys that can, play in the slot, move to outside. You've got running backs that can move up and play wide receivers. You got tight ends that can block well. You got tight ends to go for the pass. You want guys, fullbacks also. That's a big one lately. Fullbacks can catch and block. So I think that's really the key here is, and we even see the quarterback position. People moving towards mobile quarterbacks, quarterback that can run, quarterback that can pass. Any guy that can do more than one thing well nowadays is truly the future of football. And I see teams like Seattle who are traditionally really, really smart. Pete Carroll's always coming up with very intricate, nuanced defensive ideas and really breaking the mold of how things done. He's an innovator. He's the guy that do things first, really. So I like what Seattle's doing. I think other teams kind of need to get on board and start to follow because this Seattle team, with all of the pieces they have added now, I think it's going to be very dangerous and they can make a late playoff push and people are not going to know what to do against this team.
All right, Miles, we would like to give a special thanks to our partner in today's video, Neuro.
That's right, Nick. And I want you to go with me on a journey really fast. I want you to imagine this. It's 4th and goal in the big game, Nick. Your team is relying on you to make the big-time game-winning play. I know you've been in this situation before, Nick. The stadium is roaring. The clock is ticking. The game is on the line. But if only in that moment you were able to have some Neuro Gum. Neuro Gum will help you stay concentrated, and it gives you a burst of energy without a nasty crash.
That's right, Miles. Neuro has thoughtfully curated ingredients and does endless lab testing, which means that you can reach the right state of mind safely and consistently. That's the most important part. It gives you a clean burst of energy and focus without the jitters of coffee or any of those other energy drinks.
That's right, Nick. And if you click our sponsor link in the description below, you can enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.